A warm welcome to this on-demand web class called Maximize Business Growth, 3 essential strategies for business owners and business development managers. My name is Bram Lagrou. I am here welcoming you, especially if you're a business owner or a business development manager, have an existing business, meaning you're not necessarily looking at starting something new, it's already going. Third, you want more revenue, sales, and customers, and you're serious, not just curious, and you're also the type of person that takes action, then this is the right place for you to be. Now, what led me to this webinar? First of all, again, to give you a bit of an idea what my background is and how we've got here. I graduated with a master's in psychology, worked 6 years in sales and marketing management, started my own business in a new country, being Australia, from Europe, and consulted to top 200 private companies, major banks, big four firms, and multinationals. Since then, I've been delivering training and coaching to business people in 16 countries. I actually think that's 18 by now. But anyway, and I'm also the best-selling author of 3 books by now, which is still current. Now, here's some of the things I've done. This is my first book, Selling is Out, Create Buy-in. If you haven't got a copy yet, you can download one on my website, bramlagrou.com, and you'll see it there on the homepage. The second book I've recently released is called How to Communicate for Results and Feel Great, and a wonderful asset as well. And there's about 8 years in between the two of them. And then the same year of the yellow one, I've also co-authored Live with Purpose together with Pat Mesiti, David Kavanaugh, Alan Short, and a few other people. And so those are the 3 books I've written. I've also worked 6 years together with no one less than Brian Tracy. He's one of the specific global authorities in the field of time management, high performance leadership, and consultative selling, and also in personal development. So Maximum Achievement and Perform at Your Best were best-selling programs of his. So I worked with him for 6 years, good old Brian, and also worked closely with my coach, who used to be the CEO of St. George Bank and Bank SA. His name is Rob Chapman. So a C-suite executive who showed me the ropes on how to do business and how to deal with people. I help boost productivity with over 500 people at Watkins Manufacturing Corporation, which is these days called Watkins Wellness. And this is probably close to $1 billion organization in the area of portable spas, swim spas, saunas, and infrared cabins. That's 400 people also I trained at PwC Australia, over 300 people that I trained at the Australian Submarine Corporation, delivering submarines to the Australian Navy. Over 100 people that I've trained at Sage Group, which is a multinational with head base in Adelaide, and having lots of engineers over there. 40 people also at Polier, which is a national manufacturer and wholesaler of air conditioning products. And many of the people that I've trained in the field of sales and business development report 95% conversions, as in strike rate, which is unheard of. Here's Sonia Noonan, Managing Director of BNI South Australia, what she says about the sort of work we've done together. I've done a lot of personal and professional development over the past 15 years or so, but this course that I'm doing with Bram at the moment is just blowing my mind. I've walked away from day one so excited for what I have learned, so excited for tomorrow, and can't wait to start implementing it all. The content is amazing, informative, and relevant to today's environment. I just spoke earlier about Sage Automation, which is an industrial automation company with over 700 staff. Danny Smith is the head of business development there, and he says we're putting all our client-facing staff through the course because we're happy with the results. So whether you're talking about a senior engineer, project managers, state managers, service managers, general managers, heads of departments, and the likes, and even general managers, all of them have been put through the Business Development Accelerator. Testimonial also of Nancy Hobergs. She is the Senior European Sales Manager of Watkins Wellness, and she says that about 47 people in her global sales team have gone through our program, and she says it's been a game changer for us all. Now, let's do a quick exercise here just to kind of get familiar with one another and make sure that this is going to be really relevant for you. I want to make sure that you really fully get the full value of the little time that we're going to be spending today on this webinar. First of all, what is your average deal size in dollars? Whether that's 500, 5,000, 50,000, 500,000, 5 million or more. I actually, believe it or not, have a few clients that actually do billions dollars of work each time they write business. But that's not for most of us. So whatever the average deal size is, write that down as your answer to question one. Then for every 10 quotes or proposals that you are handing out to prospective buyers and clients, how many of those 10 convert? So write it down if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, right? Then for every 10 quotes and proposals you write, how many do not convert, which is basically the difference of the number that you had before and 10. So if you had 5 that convert, it means that your answer to question 3 is that you have 5 that don't convert. Now, last question now, number 4, is multiply your answer from question 1 with your answer from question 4. So, in the example that I've given you, let's just say that our average deal size is $50,000. If you have 5 for every 10 quotes you write, 5 of them that are not going ahead, you're basically missing out probably out of $250,000 for every 10 quotes that you write. That is really the starting point. Now, why is this all important? Why do we want to have this number in our head? Is because I want to create a burning platform and a sense of urgency for you to do what you need to do to get better results on the scoreboard and do it fast. Now, the dollar figure you just mentioned is why you need my help, because you probably have been missing out of lots of money. And here are some relevant stats for you to know. The average close rate, according to HubSpot, which is a leading customer relationship management software platform, also called CRM. They have global insights into small, medium, and large organizations. And this is what they report. For biotechnology, 15% close rate. Software industry, 22% close rate. And the finance industry, 19% close rate, for a total of 20% on average across industries. Now, what does it mean? That for every 10 quotes that they write, only 2 of them convert and 8 of them don't. 8 quotes or proposals do not translate into dollars in the bank. That means that's a lot of waste, a lot of missed opportunities. And again, back to you, compare that now with where you're at. Our clients have a close rate as high as 95%, which is unheard of. Proof is also in the pot. Since the work that we've been doing, we have seen people attending our, for example, events. This is an example of the National Sales Conference that I've hosted for multiple years. And I've taken a break for a little while. But we've had people come from around the country to learn with us for at least 2 days on how to do more business faster and easier than ever before. We also have senior leaders and business owners coming along with us overseas to very exotic places to actually immerse themselves in a retreat, which we call The Edge, that allows them to totally transform themselves and their businesses. And obviously, these people would not spend good time of theirs, as in 5 days, and spend good money overseas with us unless they would get value. And the value that people have gotten is from small to medium and large organizations, local businesses, national businesses, and international, multinational conglomerates. Whether they are private held businesses or listed businesses, you name it, we've worked with many of them, and there's a snippet of them right here available for you. Some of those you will recognize because the Hilton Group, we all know, certain real estate groups like Ray White or LJ Hooker, or organizations like PwC and leading organizations otherwise, they are all in there. Anyway, you came here to learn. And so the 3 pillars that I want to share with you to business success is, first of all, success thinking. So if you haven't got a notepad yet and something to write down with, please make sure you have it now, or pause this little recording so that you can actually take notes, because this information is going to help you out in a big way. So success thinking is the first one. This is basically where my psychology background is always kind of coming in and working on your mindset and also your emotional component. The second one is success processes. I wouldn't have said this early in the piece, not having been very much of a structured person early in the days, but over time, more than 20 years now after I've been in the field of sales and business development, I certainly now see that success definitely helps, and lack of success or process hurts. So process helps, lack of it hurts. And so we got to look at also and investigate how your process can be improved to have breakthrough results. The last one is success actions. We all know you can't just be the type of person that sits down and meditates on success and just thinks that by the law of attraction and by basically becoming a magnet, that suddenly everything will happen for you. You got to take certain actions. And so what do those actions look like? Certain actions lead to bigger results in business development and sales than others. And so knowing what to prioritize is really essential. So that is basically, first of all, the big picture. Let's now go a little bit dive into what each of the pillars consists of. The first one being success thinking. So we're now going into our brain and we want to kind of dissect what that involves. Now, first of all, in sales and business development, whether you work for someone or you are employed in your own business, there is certain things that either will help you and hurt you. And one of them is limiting beliefs. That will hurt you, as well as limiting expectations. If you, for example, have a certain amount of dollars that you think your services are worth, you might actually do yourself a disservice and discredit or even discount your value. Now, that probably would not be very helpful, and it's not sustainable on the long term. And if you've been doing that, you know exactly what I talk about. The other thing is that we have preconceived ideas at times that work against us, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. And the last one is also cognitive bias. All of us, whether we are conscious of it or not, we have biases that limit our success in sales. And it's important that you become more self-aware, that you bring it to the center of your attention and do something about it, rather than having it just sit in the background, sabotaging your deals without you even knowing it. And trust me, there is going to be certain Achilles heels that you have in these four areas that are right now hamstringing you. They're hurting your sales. They are hurting your pocket. They are hurting your income. And they also might potentially frustrate you because you're spending a lot of time unproductively and unpaid with all of those quotes and opportunities that don't go anywhere. So success thinking is different from I don't want to be pushy. Certain people of you might think that your actions are being pushy. You also might think I might lose a sale if my product or service costs more, and therefore you will start to look for ways to minimize the price just in an attempt to get it across the line, which means you erode your margin and therefore you're not giving yourself an opportunity to deliver your best service possible. I'll wait for them to come back to me is one other way that your thinking might be programmed in a negative way. And let's be honest, how often have you had somebody that said, hey, I'll come back to you, and they never did? That is proof that this thinking is not working for you. The other way is that people buy on price. If you think that that is true, and you think that price is a major component for decision making in your field of expertise or the products that you offer, guess what? You are seriously undermining your performance. There is so much more you can earn, and it's good that you're here with me because that's where I can help you big time. Another thought you might treasure is that there's no way I can double my income this year. If you have the monkey on the back sitting there and it's just whispering in your ear and you just don't think that it's possible and your beliefs are just of such kind that you were skeptical and critical and all of that, guess what? This is your analytical brain kicking in rather than you becoming exponential and going in with abundance and going in with your higher self. You allowing your lower self to discount your future. And that is not working for you. And that's exactly also why you might be on this webinar. You also might think that cold calling is really bad and that you hate it, or networking is something that you don't enjoy doing. Guess what? This is all just stuff that isn't working for you. You could also say, hey, you can't win them all. It's a numbers game, or think things like that. Or I just don't like that person. And you just choose to work with people that you like and dismiss all the others. Guess what? If there's a person out there that I could just show you how to think along with them so that you would appreciate them and understand where they're coming from and suddenly feel more comfortable about them and potentially even taking a liking in them. Wouldn't that then be great for you to go out of your way instead of continuing with very judgmental thoughts and thinking patterns? Again, this is an invitation for you to step up and to create a different future. Because success thinking is an ongoing job. And it's really important that if you go to, the science, neuroscience, and psychology, is that in your sales, you will either be spending most of your time in your reptilian brain, the limbic brain, or the neocortex. And depending on where you spend most of your time, I can predict how much money you will make. The brain elevator that you and I and every other person that deals with clients has to work with, whether you like it or not, whether you know about it or not, always works. It's a law that all of us deal with, just like gravity, just like night and day, right? These things work with or without us, and they're 100% of the time. So what you want to do is work with the brain elevator. So you want to consciously use this knowledge to your advantage so you can help more people with your products and services. And this is how you got to work with it. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 is the reptilian brain. So anytime when you and I email, talk to people over the phone, meet people for a coffee, or present and pitch our products or services, and all of the other things that you can do in sales and business development land, all of it will always first pass through level 1, which is the reptilian brain. And the reptilian brain is programmed to assess everything that you say, everything that you act in terms of behavior, the sound of your voice, the tonality that you have, and even the pace by which you speak, and even the words that you use. All of that is being assessed by your buyer's mind, the reptilian brain of theirs, to see whether or not there's a threat. If they see a threat, they'll pull a red flag on you, and they'll basically go into one of 3 things, which is fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, they might suddenly disagree with you and start arguing with you. Or flight means they might just walk away and, for example, say things like, I'll think about it. Or they might not say anything whatsoever and ghost you. Freeze might be that they just allow you to do whatever you say. They hear it out, but they don't do anything with it. This is also one of 3 ways that every single client of yours might respond, and it's predictable and preventable to do exactly one of those 3 things. Why? Because you don't have to create a threat in the reptilian brain of a buyer. What you rather do is know how to read your buyer and treat him in a way so that the reptilian brain doesn't see any threat and in fact is feeling comfortable. As soon as it feels comfortable, you go to level 2 in the brain, which is the limbic brain. And this is where trust, rapport, and liking, and goodwill, and potentially a desire to do business with you develops. Now, once again, also on this level, you can go wrong. You can go in with an hit and miss approach. And that is not a good idea. You don't want to wing it. You don't want to leave it to chance. It's not a numbers game. As we already said, you can race from 20% average strike rate to 95%, as many of our students do, just by reading people and treating them the right way for the buyer's perspective, right? So if you know that certain things will really make them that certain aspects will take away trust, well, then you obviously don't do them. But how do you figure out what to do and what not to do? Again, that is what we are experts at teaching you. Let's just say that in the best of cases, the limbic brain of your buyer is also satisfied, aka it feels comfortable as well. So therefore, it feels that you're trustworthy, that you're a good person, that you seem to have good intentions, that you have their best interests at heart. And now they're starting to build goodwill. They are starting to open themselves up to your products and services. Guess what? Only now you go up once again a level in the brain, and now their neocortex opens up to your solutions. Notice now, only in level 3 will your products and services genuinely be assessed on its value. And only there will price actually play a role, but not the most important role. Because when you do it well, and that's exactly what we teach people as well, you can pitch to the neocortex as well at the right time and say the right things in the right way so that each one of your buyers, whether it's one or multiple, feel comfortable and can also justify logically why your offer is the best one for them. This is all about value creation. And so your success depends on the level that you spend most of your time at in your own head, but also how successfully you communicate your value in each gradual step of their brain, meaning the buyer's brain. Reptilian brain, limbic brain, and neocortex. So the more time you spend, after you've successfully moved up the ranks with your buyers in the neocortex, the more you will actually close deals. That is basically as far as we get on pillar 1 today. Let's now go to pillar 2, the success process. What does that look like? Well, there's 8 steps that all of them can hurt or help. First of all, planning. In my early days, I'm sharing this now with my hand on heart, I was not very good at planning my time. I basically was very good at taking action, but it was not thought through, it wasn't planned, it wasn't structured, it was not strategic. And therefore, I launched myself in action before thinking. That was not a good idea, and I learned the hard way. Nowadays, I always say the best successful business owners and business development managers plan their time for optimal gain. And they make sure that they use structure in their diary. If, for example, you were to come to me and you show me your diary and it's basically 1 week to the next week are 2 different things, that shows me that you are not structured and that you're basically flying off the seat of your pants like I was 20 years ago, right? That is not a good idea. You plan your time because proper prior planning prevents poor performance. Now try to say that 10 times very quickly in a row. It's very difficult. So the 6 P's, proper prior planning prevents poor performance. And of course, by proper planning, you obviously create maximum results. The next one then is prospecting, is another skill set that great people use as part of their process to find more ideal clients. Now, I see time and time again where people sometimes go wrong, where they say, I rely on referrals. Most of my business growth relies on referrals. But let me ask you, how much in control are you of your referrals? And is it possible that if you do get referrals, that it's basically a mixed bag between so-so referrals, really bad ones that are not good referrals at all, and occasionally, sporadically, a great referral? Knowing now here is basically using more hope and reactivity because you're waiting for something to fall in your lap rather than proactively creating success day in, day out, week in, week out, so that you're consistent and predictable in the outcomes you get. Prospecting is the fine art and science of spending more time with better people and having high conversions and good outcomes at the end. Next is then first impressions. Most people, not knowingly, will set themselves up for failure 75% of the time. And I can say that because I've seen enough numbers in all countries around the world where people have just basically gone in not knowing, unconsciously incompetent, and therefore leaving a lot of money on the table. Because we all know that it takes only seconds for people to create a first impression about us. Now, whether that impression is going to be favorable or unfavorable predicts whether we continue the journey with them or whether it stops there and then. Obviously, you want to create first impressions that are favorable, and especially with golden opportunities, especially if you open up a door that previously was shut and that it's a business that might really give you a huge amount of work and pay you really, really good margins. You want to make sure that you don't blow it, do you? So creating first impressions is another skill set that is vital to your success. The next one then is the fine art of qualifying. Having a process for like perfect questions that allow you to do multiple things at once. One is uncover a world of information that very few people get to receive from a sales perspective. Imagine now that you ask your buyer such questions that they divulge so much information with you, valuable information and insight into their business, into their challenges, their opportunities, their aspirations that nobody else uncovers in a 30-minute meeting. Just imagine of the value of just that. The second thing though is that you also want to create epiphany moments and wow moments in the head of your buyer. Because as soon as you do that, they start to see you and experience you as a trusted advisor like no other. Notice now, they see you as an advisor, even though you ask them questions and they are giving you answers. We're now off to a winning streak because it's not about what you tell people that positions yourself as an expert. It's about your knack to ask thought-provoking questions that create different insights inside the head of the buyer. Like a doctor, by the way, does when you go and visit them. They're not going to prescribe you a medication or a treatment right off the back. They always start with great questions. And so that analogy, that experience that you and I already have, you want to bring into your line of work as well. Qualifying is one of the lowest developed skills that I have seen across industries and business development and sales professionals in different countries. Not many people know how to ask great questions and create the right journey and experience for the buyer. The last thing you want to do with a great qualifying process is that you actually want to create urgency for the buyer to take action. And how you do that is also what we teach. The next skill set that you want to develop is showing value, great value, exceptional value, so that whatever price you charge for your products or services looks like really tiny compared to the value that the people perceive. Now, the value is always in line with the information or the quality of information and the depth of information that you uncovered in the previous stage, which is qualifying. So there has to be very much of a great relation between the qualifying journey meeting that you did first and then the meeting in which you show value. And by the way, if at this stage you would share with me or catch yourself that you send your quotes rather than actually presenting your quotes, that is yet another opportunity for you to do better. But we got to keep going on, guys. There's only so much I can cover with you in a short on-demand webinar like this. So the next art and the next skill set that you want to develop is the skill set of influencing. Let's now say that you have presented your solutions to your client and they haven't decided yet to go ahead straight away. What you then do after you leave the meeting or the conference call or the board meeting, and what you do then is the process of influencing. How will you keep, let's say, holding your prospect close to you? How will you keep whispering in their ears? How will you keep influencing their decision making? Is all the emails, all the follow-up calls, all the follow-up meetings that you do after you've presented your case. That is influencing. And then the last one is closing. Closing is obviously, it's actually, by the way, not the last one, there's one more, but closing is then how you deal with all the customer objections that come your way. Like, I've got to think about it. Maybe next year. We haven't got budget this financial year. Actually, your price is too high. Actually, we went ahead with somebody else. All of these objections, all of these things are all things that you can prepare for, rehearse and drill and get really good at handling so that you become a master at negotiating and closing deals. Last one then is growing. Once you started working with a client, you obviously want to look at other ways to grow your business together with them. Now, whether that is together with them in their own business or in their own, let's say, personal opportunities, or you tap into their network and tap into or create an avalanche of referrals and introductions that lead to more business. That is growing. And once again, you can be reactive about any of these stages, meaning waiting for things to happen, passive in other words, or you can step into your greatness, be proactive about it, and create opportunities that others will never get. This is a difference between the success process. Now, the last thing here that we want to cover today is pillar 3, which is the success actions. And I touched already briefly on it, but really what you want is you want the right quantity of calls, visits, and quotes, and you also want the right quality for maximum conversions. Now, sometimes people say it's a numbers game, and to some extent it is, but it's also a quality game. And that is where the way that you deal with clients really can go from 20% strike rate to as high as 95% strike rate. So what do those success actions do is they actually combat, first of all, an issue with minimum effort in terms of quantity action. If I look at your diary and you show me 1 week to another and there's very little action that is booked in, pre-scheduled in that diary, you can imagine that obviously as you put in, you're going to get out. If you put in little, you're going to get little out. And that is really the idea. The other thing is then the quality, the effectiveness. This is about how well you convey your value and how easily you help people feel comfortable to go ahead with your solution. This is a quality thing. So yes, you need quantity, and yes, you also need quality. And both are opportunities for you to grow your business, your revenue, your profit, and your money in your pocket. So poor effectiveness, whatever your strike rate is, which is something that we already went through earlier in the piece, whatever your conversions right now are, this gives you huge opportunities to do better. So let's recap now. We've come full circle now in this short on-demand webinar. Pillar 1, to kind of review, is we looked at success thinking and where at times you might undermine your own performance. And so you got to find ways to do better and kind of set yourself up for success in advance rather than failure. This is something that we can work on together. Pillar 2 is success process. We've looked at 8 different steps and skill sets that you can develop. And you could have right now basically some of those eight that work in your favor, but some of them will actually be working against you. And each and every single one of the steps that is working against you will cost you money and time and frustration that you don't have to. Okay? So the good news is that you can overcome all that by learning how to do it. And that is about process. The last one is success actions, and that is what we just covered. Now, I'm just going to reflect on this journey here now with you. Obviously, there's only so much we can do in a short session like this. So the next step here is I'd like to ask you a few questions. Is it fair to say that for the little time already that we spent, that you already got some great information from me today? If that is the case, I'd be delighted. I also would like to ask you, is it possible that some of this thing might sound a bit daunting and overwhelming? Because yes, I understand, and many other people have said to me that before as well. So with your permission, I would like you now to show you a fast and easy way to grow your business together and make sure that all the things that right now might sabotage and undermine your performance, right? That we can do something about it so that growing your business becomes easy, predictable, and a lot more fun and profitable, of course. Now, if this is something that you're open to, I would like to offer you Business Development Accelerator. You're going to receive step-by-step instructions now on how to implement these pillars with me right now. The great thing with Business Development Accelerator is that you will be able to grow your business faster and easier, like no other time before. The Business Development Accelerator includes my A to Z business success system. It also includes 7 weeks of live training with me. And the value of that is $2,997. Now, what it also includes is a tool that has taken me a decade to develop. And this tool is valued at $3,000. It's called the Meeting Magic Prep Sheet, and it has proven invaluable for all of my clients. In fact, many of the testimonials that you will be hearing about are actually directly relating to the training that I've done, but also the use and application of this Meeting Magic Prep Sheet. So if you add these things together, you see that we're already right now at a value, I'm not saying a price, but a value of $5,997. Now, I mentioned testimonials to you and case studies. Julian Robbins is a sales partner at Space Virtual Support, and he says that since doing the course, his conversions have grown from 65 to 95%. We also have Chad McMurran, who is a business development manager at Edmo Asia Pacific. Since doing the course, Chad has been doing 120 to 150% of budget more than 24 months in a row. Imagine the consistency, 2 years in a row to exceed his targets by 20 to 50%. That, my friends, is high performance. Case study number 3 is Chris Bellamy. He was a business development manager at Academy Services at the time, and before he came to me, Chris was already a top performing salesperson of floors and blinds. The average deal he was doing at the time was $3,000. His largest ever was $50,000. That's when he came to me. Since then, the work that we've done, Chris has gone to sell his first $2.4 million contract, and he has kept growing since. And as a result of this beautiful, staggering growth he realized for his employer, he's also increased his own income by 70% within a very short space of time. I also want to reward you if you've already made up your mind that this is right for you. You'll be happy to hear that you also get some awesome bonuses as well. One of the bonuses is a book of mine, physical copy, which is Selling Is Out, Create Buying. This book is going to really help you to take your business development results to the next level after you've done the course. Why? Because in the course, for example, I walk you through 3 elegant ways to create buy-in at the point of closing to deal with customer objections very elegantly and very professionally and very genuinely. In the book, there's going to be 13 more additional ways to create buy-in elegantly. This book is valued at $29. The bonus number two is the science behind confidence, that if you sometimes feel challenged by limited thinking, self-doubt, or insecurity, and let's be honest, we all do at some point, this mini course is going to set you free forever. The value of it is $49, and that one comes with it. Bonus number three then is the latest generation advanced disc assessment and report. This is a sales version specifically, and it's going to be really giving you valuable insights into yourself and into how to make more sales. This is a next level generation advanced assessment. Value of it is $297. Now, if you add all of these things up, the total value has now grown to $6,372. Now, you could ask me, Bram, can I do this another way? And yes, I would say you could pay a lot more money for one-on-one coaching with an expert who's already there. If you were to do that with me, you would pay me $1,000 an hour every hour. Or you sign up for sales training with someone else, knowing that no one reaches close rates as high as 95% the way my students do. Or you could spend hours, like years, figuring things out on your own, spending hours and hours to reinvent the wheel and still not get the results, wasting more time of yours, more money, and precious energy of yours, which you don't have to. The fact is, there is no comparison. And so the good news is that you won't pay that much today. I'm going to give you an amazing offer today for three reasons. One, I want your success story because your success is my success. I believe in win-win situations. Two, I'm looking for people to partner with me and spread the word. I'm looking to create a movement, and I'm taking Business Development Accelerator global, and I want you to be part of that movement. Now, the total value, as I said, was $6,372 to value. And today, I'm offering Business Development Accelerator to you for only $199 a month. Now, that requires a minimum commitment of 12 months. You can imagine great success doesn't come straight away. And you and I also know that certain habits of yours you have developed over multiple years, and they're not that easy to break. So I need time to keep whispering in your ears, to keep challenging your thinking and your belief systems and your expectations to really help you to get the best of you. And that's where I need 12 months at least to get you there. Now, imagine now that after 12 months, you're perfectly happy. You can walk away and that's it. No more. And that's perfectly fine. Many other people, though, they stay on because they get value. And so that is your call. But for $199 a month only, for 12 months in minimum, you have the Business Development Accelerator readily available. Now, the mega bonus here is that I have 12 months of coaching included with me. That in itself is very, very valuable. The value of it, in fact, is easily $6,000. 12 months of coaching. I mean, I have people that pay me $24,000 for coaching a year. And I'm adding this coaching here, group coaching, mind you, now into the equation, which now bumps up the value to $12,372. And once again, yours for the whole 12 months for only $199 a month. If you like this, grab the offer. It's both on the screen as well as somewhere on this page. There will be a button for you to just click and go to the checkout and join Business Development Accelerator. I'm looking forward to working with you. I appreciate the fact that you've watched this whole presentation out. It shows me that you're serious about yourself and that you're also somebody who's willing to take action and back yourself up to create a better future. Because a better future looks like more clients, more money, more profit in your pocket, and also a lot easier life. Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you. My name is Bram.